Hey everyone, and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a breaking news report coming out from India, and I've got a second report in 2 weeks now that shows that India's state refiners are actually pausing the purchase of Russian oil, especially after just the other day we had US President Donald Trump raise tariffs onto India again, up to 50% that they'll be paying for any imports into the United States. So I'm going to show you this new report here on your screen. Indian refiners pause purchases of Russian oil after tariffs increase. Indian refiners are slowing down their purchases of Russian oil as pressure grows from the United States after President Donald Trump announced 50% tariffs on Indian exports. So, actually, just last week, we had reports that Indian refiners were actually stopping the purchase of Russian oil. Then, a couple days later, we heard reports out of the government of India. They stated that that was actually not true. They refuted those claims and said that Indian refiners were still continuing to purchase Russian oil. Now, all of a sudden, after just recently, US President Trump raises tariffs to 50% onto India. Now we have reports today out of Bloomberg actually confirming this, that India's state-owned refiners have halted the purchase of Russian oil for right now. So I'm going to show you this report. Let's go ahead and hop on over here to a mainstream news publication called United 24 Media. It says India's state-owned refiners halt Russian oil imports as U.S. doubles tariffs. This is coming out today, August 7th, 2025. You can see right here. And it says right here, India's state-owned refiners have paused their purchases of Russian crude oil, according to sources familiar with the company's procurement plans, as the U.S. increases pressure on New Delhi with harsh tariffs. Indian Oil Corporation, Bharat Petroleum Corporation, and Hindustan Petroleum Corporation plan to skip spot purchases for the upcoming cycle until they receive clear government guidance, Bloomberg reported on August 7th. This will affect the buying of Russia's Urals cargoes for October loading, with concerns that further disruptions could arise from India's decision. So you can see here it talks about skipping spot purchases. So like the next buying cycle they have to purchase Russian oil, they decided to skip it altogether and will be affecting any loading of Russian barrels going to India apparently around October. And it says right here, this move comes after U.S. President Donald Trump doubled the tariffs on all Indian exports to the U.S. as a punishment for refiners buying Russian crude. The escalation is aimed at pressuring Moscow to end the war in Ukraine. The situation has caused fluctuations in oil futures as traders assess the potential impact on the market and Russia's ability to find alternative buyers if Indian refiners reduce their purchases, Bloomberg claims. It also says a little bit more information right here. Despite this, New Delhi has not officially directed refiners to stop buying Russian crude, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government resisting Trump's tariffs. Yeah, so far the government hasn't even come out and told the refiners to stop the purchases of Russian oil, but these state-owned refiners have actually decided to do this on their own. It says while India's state-owned refiners are major buyers of Russian Urals crude, the pause on purchases does not necessarily mean zero purchases for October loading. The reduced volume may prompt a shift towards other grades of oil, such as those from the U.S., Middle East, and Africa. Traders expect deeper Russian discounts and more offers to China, which typically does not take much of this variety, according to Bloomberg. At its peak, India imported more than 2 million barrels a day of Russian oil, which marked a significant shift from virtually no purchases before the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The impact of this change in purchasing dynamics is still unclear, but it highlights India's balancing act between maintaining its energy needs and avoiding further tensions with the U.S. So if you notice, it talks about here that it doesn't mean that they're not going to be purchasing any oil, period. They actually might be digging into like the Middle East, maybe directly from the U.S. or Africa, as we did hear about that some Indian refiners could start pulling oil out of the Middle East, I think from the UAE directly, and maybe West Africa. Finally, it says here, previously it was reported that U.S. President Donald Trump said that additional tariffs on China could be imposed, following the example of a recent 25% duties announced on India over its imports of Russian oil. It may happen, I can't tell you yet, Trump told reporters, as quoted by Reuters. We did it with India, we're doing it probably with a couple others. One of them could be China. And yes, he did state that yesterday, that there is going to be more sanctions coming down onto other nations, not just India alone. And I want to show you guys a clip from him actually yesterday directly out of the White House. We'll jump on over here to X real quick with ViceGrad24. It says Trump, when asked by a journalist why he singled out India from other countries that also buy Russian oil, he says, you're going to see a lot more. You're going to see a lot of secondary sanctions. Yeah, I want to show you this real quick, about 23 seconds. Take a look.
Please. Indian officials have said that there are other countries that are buying Russian oil.
It's okay.
Like China, for instance,
It's
buys
okay.
more.
Yeah.
Why are you singling India out for these additional sanctions?
It's only been 8 hours, so let's see what happens over the
see
next.
more secondary sanctions
you're going
very
to see a lot
soon.
more.
So this is a taste of
You're
what's
going to
to
see a
come.
lot more. You're
Mr.
going to see
President,
so much
you were the
secondary sanctions. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
Please.
Indian officials have said.
Okay, so as we can see directly from Donald Trump at the White House yesterday, claiming that we're going to be seeing a lot more secondary sanctions, not only on India, who currently right now is at 50%. We could see China getting hit by these tariffs or sanctions, also potentially Brazil, maybe even Turkey. These are some of the countries' names that have come out of Trump's mouth recently. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that, as we know right now what Trump is really trying to do is force an end to this war. And if he cuts off Russia's oil exports, this will force them to potentially end this war, as their economy could start to collapse, and they would not have the amount of economic activity in their country and money to produce weapons to continue fighting inside of Ukraine. So just wanted to bring you guys some quick updates coming out today regarding India, as looks like, again, according to Bloomberg today, they have paused the purchases of Russian oil for right now. And we literally just heard this last week, but then the Indian government came out and said that that was not true. So we'll wait for more information. If I get some more details on this story, I'll do another update for you guys at a later time. Let me know what you think about all these details down below in the comment section, but that's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell, that way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.